Dissolving Substances Using Different Temperatures by Brianna, Michaela, Sierra, and Elena. For our project, our group decided to discover if the temperature of water influenced solubility. Solubility is the relative capability of being dissolved. The purpose of our experiment was to observe the amount of time it takes for sugar and salt to dissolve in different water temperatures. Hypothesis: we think that cold water will take longer than hot water to dissolve different types of solutes. For the first trial, we used 200 milliliters of water for each of the 4 beakers. The cold beakers were both at 9 degrees Celsius. We used 1 sugar cube, 2.5 grams. As for the salt, we used 10 grams. Both hot water beakers were 85 degrees Celsius each. 2.5 grams of sugar. In the second trial, we used 200 milliliters of water in each of the 4 beakers. The cold beakers were both 5 degrees Celsius. We used 1 gram of sugar. As for the salt, we used 5 grams. The hot water beakers were both 75 degrees Celsius. The different types of materials we used consisted of beakers, thermometers, timers, hot plates, ice, salt, sugar, tap water, and a balance scale. For trial 1, our hot water was 85 degrees Celsius. With sugar, we used 1 sugar cube, and it took 3 minutes and 10 seconds to dissolve. With salt, and 10 grams of salt, it took 3 minutes and 31 seconds to dissolve. For cold water, it was at 9 degrees Celsius. For sugar, we used 1 sugar cube, and it took 13 minutes to dissolve. With salt, we used 10 grams of salt, and it did not dissolve after 30 minutes. Trial 2. For hot water, we used 75 degrees Celsius. With sugar, it was 1 gram, and it took 53 seconds to dissolve. With salt, we used 5 grams of salt, and it took 4 minutes and 48 seconds. For cold water, we used 5 degrees Celsius, and for sugar, we used 1 gram. It took 28 minutes and 41 seconds to dissolve. For cold water with salt, it took 25 minutes and 13 seconds with 5 grams of salt. Based on our hypothesis, it took longer to dissolve in cold water than it did in hot water. At the beginning of our experiment or procedure, we were correct.